If anybody needs, if anybody wants to ask any questions, anything they want to cover tonight, if there's something you want me to review, please let me know. I believe that I had an email, a couple emails to review, so let me just double check here. So yeah. Okay, there's a property to look at. And Juan, you on the call? Let's see. Yep, good. All right, we have that one. Traven, you on the call? Let me see here. Okay, let me just check that. Okay. Sure. Okay. So currently I got one to look at. That's from Juan. Um, does anybody else want me to look at anything tonight for them? Good for now. Okay. Anybody else got anything they want to review? I have one deal so far. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording for a second, Karen. Okay. So those are some. That's Ontario. I gave you Alberta. Is anybody else looking for a particular region or area? I'll make sure I get that one up for you. BC. Okay. BC. So here's BC's. Anybody else an area that they're looking for? That's for BC. I'll make sure that I get that one. We got Alberta, Saskatchewan. I could do Saskatchewan. There's a lot of great information on the actual sites. This is Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Manitoba. They go by province. So we'll go and get Saskatchewan, Manitoba. It's here. Okay. This is Manitoba, Quebec. 1 second. Okay. Right there. Okay. You might have to switch that one to French. I have it set for English, I believe, but you can switch it obviously back and forth. That is Quebec. There. That's for Quebec. Anybody else? An area that we're looking for? No problem. Anybody else? There's an area that you're looking for? London, Ontario? That's under Ontario's. I already put up Ontario's. Did you get Ontario's? These sites are great because they have property management forms that you need if you need to, you know, the eviction process, everything's on there, these sites. It's amazing, actually. You know, your rights, the tenant's rights, they're all there. Anybody else looking for a province? Let me try something here to see if this works. Maybe I can bring them all. I doubt the links will work, but let's try. Let's try that. I doubt this is going to work, so don't hold me to it, but you never know. Maybe the links will come up. No. I tried. That did work. Yeah, I can do it, East. For sure I can. Hold on 1 second. So let me try something here. Let me try one more thing. I'm trying to keep the links on it, and it might be able to give it to you in one document. So hold on 1 second. Does that work? Yeah, looks like it works. Oh, wait. This might work. Hold on. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see if this will work. I'm going to upload the file to you. Then you can get them all. Hold on. Oh, this might work. So it's called Landlord Tenant Info. It's right at, where is it? Right there. Oh, I'm gonna download it from here, see if it works. Oh yeah, it works. Try it. Can someone confirm? That's all of them right there. Everybody get that file? It's Landlord Tenant Info docs. Did everybody get that? No, it's right there. It's in the list of documents that I to download. Hold on, let me see. It's Landlord Tenant Info. Seems to work good. 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 Now you got them all. You got everything I got on Landlord Tenant Act websites, and there's PDFs too. But be careful when you use the PDFs, even though they're linked to the site. I would always check the site. Some of them have been updated, and I wouldn't. I trust the site. You know what I mean. But there's PDF links too. Has everybody got that? So basically, the whole country. No problem. Okay, so the CMHC, everybody got the CMHC link too? It's a good file to have. Hello, Sim. What are these links for? These links are for the Landlord Tenant Act of each province. So each province has their own Landlord Tenant Act, and that allows you to understand the rights of the tenant and the rights of the landlord and responsibilities of each side. And it's the actual websites from the provinces. So it's the most up-to-date, I would assume, information that you could get from them. And all those links should be live. And everybody's got this new, just above the landlord tenant info doc, there's a doc that says 6 key M, 1046 key M. That's the one I want you to use. That is the most recent update to the sheet that we use. Okay. So does everybody have those? I want to make sure everybody has those before I move on. My pleasure. My pleasure. No worries, no worries. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's look at. I gotta. Let me just. Yeah. Okay, I got a property to review. Juan, you send me this one. You're on the call, yes. Good. And it's just want to double check. It's a 9-unit building, yes. Good. All right, we're gonna look at that together. Okay. Hold on one sec. Let me do something here. Look, we're going to look at those two. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me share my computer. Share screen. Okay. There we go. Everybody can see that okay? Okay. So this is not the property. This is the indicator. I want this one actually. Something else here. This is the one I want. Okay. This is the most recent. Okay. Hold on. This is the most recent one here. Okay. This is the one I want you to use for now. Okay. As I make updates. And what I'm going to do is, one, I'm going to move your numbers over from your sheet to this sheet, okay? All right, so we have asking price is, and you just tell me if anything's not right, okay? Repairs, we have none. Is there repairs to the property? Juan, any repairs needed? No? Okay, at this point we don't know. Okay, that's good. 439000, it's the same price. Purchase price plus repairs, and after repair value, we're going to put a 0. Okay, number of units is 9. Okay, 5700 is the 100. Okay, good. 633, that's right. 68, that's right. Okay, so expenses, you went 20 and 20. Okay, so expenses again, expenses are coming from the expense sheet on this side. So, if you change anything over here, it's going to change what's over here. Okay, so right now you have it at 13,680. So I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to put under other, which is just total, right? Other, we're going to say 13,680. We're going to call this the total. Let me just do this. Actually, I want to do this last time. That's all right. So just total for now. Total expenses, unless you have the actual expenses. So those others are set up so you can add, expenses that are not in this list. All right. Okay. So now we see it's changed. So see, it takes this. It's going to take this, and it's going to take this separately, and it's going to move them over here. So you can change it on this expense sheet. So if I change this to 10%, that's going to change over here. It's going to show higher for expenses of vacancy maintenance and property management. Okay. So we'll use the standards, the 5, 5, and 10. Okay, we'll go back over here. Let me just double check so far. What do we got here? Those are right. So cash flow per unit is right. Okay, then financing, we have 80, 20, that's right. 309 you have here. 3, 3.9 further. That you have 3.5. 0, that's good. 29. Let's see here. That looks right. Oh, 378. 2, 439. Mortgage is showing gross income of 8. So, what am I seeing different here? Hold on one sec. That's all correct. Cash flow for you is right. 80, 20, 30 year, 309, 351, 16. Why is that? That's the actual formula. So that's right. So 1 second here. I just need to double check something. I did 25 years amortization is straight for seller financing. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm looking at it, I'm like, what's going on? Okay. 25 years. Okay, that makes sense. 438. Okay, 5, 351, 200. 1650, 29, and 28. Yours was, hold on 1 second. Oops. Oh, that's right. That's the right number. Okay, so that's the formula for it. 37.2, 25. That's going to be different from yours because the mortgage is more. 25 year, yep, we got that. Okay. Infinite return, 2017. The cash flow per unit is 147. There's a difference in the mortgage that your sheet shows a mortgage. Did you catch any of the formulas? Your mortgage says it's different here. I know that's the mortgage formula. I checked it on both. 30 year, 3. Oh, I got it. I know why. 3.09. There it is. That's why. Okay, now we're away. Okay. 3 point, there it is. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now we have it. We have infinite return. This actually, really depends what we put there. You could put 3 years and then go 0, 0 to get the, what it would be if it was only 3 years that you flipped it. But anyways, okay, so we look at this property. Looks like we're meeting our criteria. Our criteria is up here. We would like to see the deal make 10% or more. It's infinite, cash flow 75 a door unit, 165, invested in a deal 10% or less. So it meets all 3 criteria of the deal that we're looking for. So it meets that. That's great. And this on its face looks like a good deal. There doesn't seem to be any challenges with the current numbers. Now, do you have this property under contract by chance? Because this looks good. This is primarily student housing. Okay, so that is my concern. Okay, so you want an income and expense statement. Let's ask for that. So let's ask for income and expense statement. One. Actually, you know what, one? You know what? You can put this under contract if you want. I mean, you can get the expenses, income and expense statement after. The one thing I would probably change though is maintenance. I'd bump it to 10. Let's see. You're still okay. I'd bump it to 10. This is a loan. This is a partner's money, or where's this money coming from? Does anybody have any questions on this deal as we go through it? You can ask just as we update this information. I want to do joint ventures, so I'd split the monthly cash flow 50-50. Okay. So do you have someone already for joint venture on this? No, I don't. Okay. Would you like to present this to the group? Let's not do it right now, but would you like me to share this? Would you like to open this to the group, see if somebody's interested? Okay, let's do that on a second. On a deal like this, what would be your concerns to be right off the get-go? Maintenance. Biggest one is maintenance, right? And you know, this income that they're saying, if it's student housing, are they signing 8-month leases and that's what's coming in, or is it you know, just for the school year? Is it empty? What's the vacancy rate? Is it higher than 5%? I'd want to know that. Where does the 87.8 come from? 87.8. What are we looking at there? That's the investor. They're looking for the investor to come up with that, the 20% seller financing. Well, it could be seller financing. In this case, I guess you're asking for a partner to bring the money in. Yes. Okay. Well, if you're going to pay the lender, you're willing to pay someone 3.5% plus 50% of the cash flow. Is that right? Okay. Well, this is the investment for the investor is 87.8. The cash flow split, if we do 50% cash flow split, that's 601 each, right? That's what the investor is going to get. 21,000 at the end of 36-month period. Capital gains, we sold it in 5 years, let's say. We held it for 5 years. The capital gains would be a split, 60,000 each. Minus expenses. There's going to be expenses there, but 60,000 is a gross number. Total income 82,000. ROI in 5 years. They double their money basically in 5 years, based on what you're putting up now. So where's the exit strategy? When you say exit strategy, you're meaning what? When you say that, because each deal, the exit strategy saying rent to own would be the exit is when you close the deal 3 years. The exit strategy on a buy and hold, for an income property, you're holding it. So when you say exit strategy, Pravin, what are you asking more specifically, if you could? Because I believe this is a buy and hold for you, Juan, right? This is what you like to do with it, is buy and hold it, yes? Okay. Okay. So if the investor comes in, they're gonna get 50% of the cash on 50% of the capital gains when sold. Is that right? That's what the deal is. They get half the money when it sells too. Juan. Okay. All right. Well, this is a good deal. I mean, the investor is going to make, you know, they're going to double their money in 5 years, which is, you know, compounded something like, let's see, 15%. Would 15 be right? 15 goes into 75 5 times. Yep, 70, well, 72 times. So it's about 15% a year. That's what they're making. Who's going to hold the mortgage? Okay, so that's a good question. Juan, who's going to hold the mortgage? Who you asking? Are you asking the investor to hold the mortgage? Or you could combine both hold the mortgage? Or how do you want to do that? I'm not sure. What would you advise? Well, I mean, it's totally up to you and the partner, right? You could both be on the mortgage. The risks, you know, the risk of the loan could be both yours, you and your partner. You could have your partner they put up the mortgage. I mean, and if they put up the mortgage, that might justify the 3.5%, because typically if they're going to split everything, it's zero for the money. But if you're asking them to put up a mortgage, or really, folks, you can really do anything you want. Anything is possible. And just to open your eyes to the possibility of you getting involved in this deal. This 87,000, you know, doesn't have to be your money, right? But you got to account for the cost of that money. So to give you an example, you know, if you had 87,000, say you had access to you know, that money. If you looked at, just as an example, so $90,000 you borrowed it, and you're paying somebody Let's look at 10%. Okay, let's look at it just to give you an idea. Okay, so 10%. So each year you're going to have to pay. If it's interest only, then if it's interest only, you're paying the person. We're going to go this times this. Okay, so 9,000 basically a year. We're going to bring that down. Second. Basically, it's 90,000 a year. We don't have to do that. Clear context. Okay, so 90,000. We're going to do it for 5 years. Okay, so it's going to be a 5-year loan. Just assuming we're going to do it for 5 years. That equals this 90,000 times 9,000. Sorry, times this. Okay, that's 45,000. Okay, does everybody follow me? What I'm doing here? So you borrow 90,000 to get in this deal from someone else. Okay, the 90 grand. They charge you 10%. Okay, you do this for 5 years. You pay them interest only, $9,000 a year. Okay, that's going to cost you 45,000. Okay, if it's going to cost you 45,000, then that's going to come off the total income that you made on the property. So 45,000, is going to cut basically that in half. And instead of you making, 10%, 100% return, you'd make an infinite return because none of it was only your own money. But to reference the actual investment of 87.8, that would be the same as put in 87.8. That's what it would be, 43. So you'd make around 47% on that money. Does everybody understand what I just did? Just to give you an idea, the money could come from anywhere. It's really, it's really anything's possible with willing people. That people that want to share the wealth and make the deal work. Anything is possible. So, on the numbers, if you had $87,000, how many of you would be happy with close to 100% return? Because there's expenses involved, right? When you close out the deal and you sell it. How many would you be happy with 100% return? That's pretty good. I think that's a realistic, yeah, exactly. It's a good deal. It's a good deal. Now, how did you calculate the 43.9? So if you borrowed $87,800 from somebody, and you paid somebody else, Michael, you paid someone else 10% a year to borrow the money to get in this deal. You want in this deal, but you don't have 87.8. You pay someone 10% for 5 years, interest only. That's gonna cost you 43,900. That's gonna take away from this, yeah. You're not gonna get this money at the end, right? All this money at the end. That's not going to be yours, right? Because this money, it would be yours if you put up all the money. But you didn't put up the money in this case. So 43,900 is what it would cost you for the loan. You'd walk away with 30, 30, let's just say $35,000 after expenses. So $35,000 is what you would make if you borrowed the money from someone else. Does that make sense? Okay. So what I would do in this deal, but the return is split in half, isn't it? Oh, we already split it in half. This is all cut in half. This is all half. This is just for the investor. So the deal, we'll leave this one to the end. If anybody's interested, you can reach out to Juan. Juan can put out his email at the end, and you guys can reach out to him. That being said, at this point, Juan, you can get it under contract. Someone on the call might be interested in a wholesale deal. Some of you might want to just take the deal on yourself. One, you could wholesale it to him for $5,000. Everything's possible. Everything's possible, right? Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a good deal as long as the numbers come through, right? So on, you can get it under contract. At this point, at least ask for an income and expense statement so you can actually put the proper expenses over here to get a more accurate number. And I would go with maintenance 10%, and vacancy you can double check, but it might be higher, it might be 10%. That's all going to affect the numbers, obviously, but still the property works. I mean, the property makes money. Property makes money. Give me 1 second here. That's right. Capital gains, total income 77,000. Give me 1 second. That does not look right to me. This divided by this 87. Oh, okay, everybody. I don't know why that formula did that, but I want everybody to double check this formula on their sheet, okay? Everybody on your own sheet, it is less because I added those expenses, right? I took this, I put these 10. This was originally 5. Let's go back over here. So it's 93. My apologies. It wasn't 100% return. This was not calculating properly. Everybody check their sheet, the ROI sheet. I had it backwards. So the ROI formula should read up here. Did everybody see that? K35 divided by K30, which is basically saying the income divided by the investment. Does everybody have that? Is anybody unable to do that formula change? I just want your number to be accurate. Okay, yeah, I'm making changes to this all the time. That's why it's good that we use them to see if there's a mistake or it's not calculated properly as I add stuff. So please, if you see something that's not calculated right, let me know, okay? And I'll just update and fix it as we just caught it there. Okay, so what I was doing was the expense. I was up in the vacancy to 10%, which we're gonna, we'll change our expenses. We'll drop this, but still, I mean, even with these numbers, it's still a great deal. You can see that you're still, you still got a 101 per door invested in the deal for you on 0, but even for the investor, it's still a decent, it's a good return for sure. Okay, so any questions about this? We'll leave this one till the end. Any questions? Okay, so at the end, you'll put your email address, okay? And anybody who's interested in wholesaling it, or you like to get involved in the deal or see if there's an opportunity for you, you just take Juan's email address, okay? The other thing is, Sam, what correction we need to make on the sheet? Just for this right here. This cell, the 87, let me just highlight it for you. This one, this one in orange, I want you to make sure the formula reads K35, K30. K35 divided by K30. If that's a problem for anybody, I have no sign out, unfortunately. I have no sign out, unfortunately. You have no sign out. I don't know what you mean. I have no sign out. Stop. Oh, wait. Hey, Sam, can you stop the recording and I can send my email? I have to sign out, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, hold on one second, everybody. Hold on. Let's do that. Okay, we're recording again. Okay, so let's go back. Screen. There we go. And now we're going to look at Frank's properties. That's this one. Okay, so Frank, these are Frank's deals that we were looking at. Go to number 5. Okay, so this is number. Oh, didn't come up. Hold on. There, I'm on number 5 now. Okay. All right, so Frank, we got. Oh, I see that it's the old sheet. Okay, so we can move it over if you'd like. Let's move this over here for a second. And let me put up the numbers. They dropped the asking price to $599. Okay, so let's put the numbers in. Okay. Okay. So let's go. So they went to 999,900. Okay. Purchase price is the same, 999,900. Okay. Any repairs or anything that needs to be done to the property, Frank? Any repairs to the property needed? No repairs? Okay, good. All right. So your income was 6625, right? That looks right. You had insurance. Okay, so 11,925. 11,925. Okay, let's get rid of that. And you additional exact expense of 7,139, and your why were you vacancy maintenance and property management you had at just 5%? Is there a reason why? Is that because the other numbers were accounted for? 9,045 property tax. Oh, you can, okay, let's do that. 9,045 was the property tax. 2,665 was the insurance. Good. What else? Any other expenses that you have? Water, sewer. Okay, good. Water was 1733. Good. Anything else? Heating expense. Okay. Utilities. Heating expense was 13. Oh wait, heating expense was 4090. Okay. Hydro 13. Hydro. Okay. Utilities. We put that on utilities. Okay. You know what? Let's just do this for now. Hydro usually is the water expense. That's okay. Hydro was 1316. I'm gonna get rid of this. But there's a weird part. They say total expenses 18.8. That's right. That's right. But then it works. But then they say total operating expense percentage 20. Operating expense 23,709. So I don't know what that is. PCT, I don't know what they're saying. Percentage, I don't know what that is. Predicted, I don't know what that is. PCT. So vacancy maintenance and property management might be on top of that. They put that on there. I honestly don't know. But I would go 5, 5, and 10 for management. So I would estimate that your expenses are more closer to, so is there a difference between 4K between 18K and the 23K? That might be something like maintenance. It might be, did they give you a maintenance cost, Frank? Did they give you vacancy, property management, any of those numbers? No. Okay, so probably one of the three are in there, or maybe two of them they put in there, but you can see that vacancy is 4,000 on its own, maintenance is 4,000 on its own, and management's 8,000. So one of them are probably in that extra cost. So we can verify that. You can verify it. Yeah, you can just ask them. But you're going to put in 5, 5, 10 unless you know it's otherwise. You know, you have evidence it's otherwise. We're going to use those numbers. So you have a net operating income of 44,751. So we started with 79,000 for our income. Once we take the expenses, we have 44,000. So gross rent multiplier is 12.58. That's getting tough into tougher numbers to make this property work, but we'll continue with it. Cap rate's 4.5, which is you're basically this property is very close to retail. You can see our value to get the 10 cap rate would be half the price. It would be basically 450. How many units is in this place? 3 units right here. Number of units is 3. Okay. So we have, if you paid it off in cash, you'd make $3,700 a month. That sucks because that's only a 4.5% return on $1 million. Let's see what we can do in the financing and see what we can make happen. So if we went 10 and 10, let's say they were open to some seller financing, and you put up 10. Let's see. Yeah, this thing's gonna bleed money. You can see it's red. That's if we can get the 30-year mortgage on this, which is a residential property because it's under 5 units. So this thing would maybe, let's see. Nope. That's great. No. Wow. There's just no room for financing. There's no room for financing. See, that's the problem. When you get cap rates in the 4, 5.5, you can start working with it. you know, you can start to make some creative financing moves on it. But 4.5, all this 4.5 is going to be eaten. This money we make is going to be eaten up by financing. We need the financing, or it's going to be a crappy return, because 4.5 is horrible for a return. So, Frank, this one, you know, really the only two areas, you know, we can make this work, because the financing really is, there's nothing really we can do in the financing. Let's try one more thing. Let's do 0, 0. Let's see what that does. Yeah, but you'd have to split it. Okay, so what I did is basically brought in an investor to put up the 20% on the property, but there's not much there. You're making about $55 each a month. There's not much there for the investment. The capital gains here would be okay. Oh wait, that's 108. My apologies. That's 108. You'd still be making $60 a unit. You'd still make $163 because there's 3 units. It wouldn't be horrible. But if you brought a partner in and you paid them no interest on it, but just split the cash flow and the capital gains, this is where it would work. You could possibly make it work that way. Like 10% or less, usually, what would be the reasonable reduced price accepted by the seller? Here, you mean just reducing the overall price? Is that what you mean? Okay. So let's look at those 2 ways. So there's 2 ways that we can make this work, okay? Or we can focus on expenses. We can reduce these expenses. That's one way, which is possible, but you know, there's limits to what there's costs to running the business, right? So expenses might do it. But I just want to show you something real quick, folks. They're only saying these expenses here are going to give them, you know, they're only saying it's an extra 4,000. Okay? Just to give you an idea of what their numbers probably look like. Their numbers look like this. So the expenses, you know, the cap rate now is 5.7. If I only give 5% to these 3 because they haven't been accounted for, the property all of a sudden looks appealing, right? Where all of a sudden I could do this, 0, 20. So the seller might say to you, hey, if you get even a 25, you probably work. Yeah, so this is what they'll say to you. They'll say, hey man, just all you got to do is put 20% down on the property. It's investment property. You put up, the bank will put up 80%, get a 25-year mortgage at 3.09, and you know, you'll make $300 a unit. You'll cash flow, you know, $10,000 a year. This is a great property, but it's not really, because the cash on cash return sucks. It's 5.4%. It's no good, you know. But they're not looking at the return. They're just looking at the cash flow, and they haven't accounted for all these expenses. So you know, when you go back to them, they're going to say that the property pays more than it does, and you're telling them it doesn't, you know, because I don't see a maintenance cost and I don't see a management cost. You know, they're probably managing this property on their own. The 20% down, if you put the 20% down, this is what you'd be losing, $31 a month. If you invested in this property and put up the 20%, that's what you'd be in, yeah, not a good situation. So bringing the property price down. So, you know, a 5% drop is not a big deal. 10, you start getting into, you know, there has to be an urgency typically for that. But let's say we dropped it to 10% and it was 900,000 was the price. When we bring these prices down, and now remember, we put the 20% in for real, right? But you're looking for 10 and 10, right? Seller financing or an investor, and you're going to have to pay that investor real money. Okay, we're going to go for the 30-year mortgage. We're going to pay 10%. No, still doesn't work. So if we paid an investor 10%, got a 30-year mortgage, and let's say that it would be 3.5 is more realistic on that 30-year. No, so let's go down. Let's go for a second. Let's see something. No, not quite that, but 800 might not get us there. Let's see if it does. It would probably be around 750 if you're trying to attack it from the price point part. Yeah, maybe we could pay a little bit more. 775. Does everybody see what I'm doing? I'm just raising the price to see. Yeah, you're looking, that's 95 a unit. But this is your problem. Again, is the return, your cash on cash return is not very good. It's not meeting the 10% requirement. Um, because you're still putting up 77,000. So based on the money that you're going to make on this, it doesn't look like it's going to give you a decent return for the year. Let's see, it's only going to give you about $3,000. Let's see, if we could. No, no, this would have to come down to make it work because you're putting up 10% in this scenario, right? Yeah, there you go. There's your number. You'd have to get the property for 700,000. Turn the laundry room into a bachelor unit. You'd have to have it zoned for an extra unit. You know, make sure it's zoned properly and it meets code. But you could do that. You could do that. You could add more income. Those things are great, but you want to make sure that the original property itself makes money. You know, that the property as it is going to pay you. Unless it's a rehab and you're flipping it out, you can't assume cash flow necessarily in that situation because you have to fix up the property. But other than that, I mean, you want to make sure that you can make money when you move into when you take over the property. So when it reduced price, that matches over 15% or 20%, the realtor is not keen to put the offer because according to him, properties go for max 5% less. Thinking about less will never be accepted. Would you say so too? Well, the realtors will 5% drop or 5%. When you make an offer of 5%, it's okay. Like people are not gonna balk at that because it's 5%. But when you start getting into 10, 15, and 20%, you're absolutely right. There's going to be resistance. And Frank, this is the question you have to ask yourself: is regardless of their situation, you can't get into this property unless the price comes down or the expenses come down. You can't, or you're going to lose money, or you're just taking their problem away from them, and for what, you know? So I can understand the realtor's position, but at the end of the day, everybody understand this. You need to know your maximum offer price to make sure you make money when you walk in the door. Because if you don't, you're going to create a problem, a long-term problem for you. And we need to do the work before we get the property. We don't want to make mistakes. So, this is why it's easy for us. We look at this and, we look at the deal and we say, well, look, and if you feel, Frank, and it is a deep cut, you're talking about a huge cut on this. You could go back to the realtor and say, look, I ran the numbers on this. This property doesn't fit my criteria. In future, I want to let you know, and this is the email you send to the realtor. In future, if you can find properties that have a 6.5 cap rate or higher, I'd be interested in looking at those properties. It's very easy. Then they know, right? Then they know. Unless you know for sure, is it going to appreciate? We don't know if it's going to appreciate. Nobody knows, right? We shouldn't bank on that. So I would never, chase that rainbow. If it comes, great, let's take it. Otherwise, I just account for the income numbers that you have, right? So Frank, in this situation, just talk to the realtor. Say, look, I ran my numbers. They didn't work out for me. This is for everybody. You can do this as a general rule. You can tell your realtors, people searching deals for you, when you run a deal and it doesn't work out, like the numbers don't work out, you can still email the realtor and say, look, this property didn't work out for me. I just want to let you know in future the kind of properties I'm looking for have cap rates of 6.5 or higher. I can't really go less than 6.5. 6.5 we can work with, right? 6.5 we can make into a better property or better investment. When you start getting into 5s and 4.5s, there's nothing there, And this property, you can see that we're at 6.4, right? At 700. If I change this to, the $1 million, look at the cap rates, 4.5. Your realtors, the people you're working with, sending you properties with 4.5. Forget about it. That doesn't mean you can't do anything with the property. You could wholesale this property, right, at 4.5. You could flip it. There's things you can do, but the market has to allow you to. You got to know you're getting a discount. So maybe the cap rate of the property you're looking at is 4.5, but the market value is a cap rate of 3.5. Well, then you can make money. You can wholesale it. Maybe it needs repairs and you can force the appreciation and make money that way, flipping it out. But taking on a property that's a loser, it just, we're not, I don't want to, I know you want deals, but I don't want you to get excited about the property itself. I want you to get excited about the income the property is going to make. That's what's exciting, not the property. I mean, the property is the least, in my view, least exciting part of the deal. It's the income. So if you're chasing properties that are not producing or giving you an opportunity to produce money, I think that you're creating a big problem. And I can promise you this: you cannot build a long-term portfolio with losing properties. That's going to be a serious problem unless you're a massive high-income earner and you don't mind losing money, and you're gonna wait it out. I mean, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense or business sense to me. All right, Frank, does that make sense? Awesome. Okay, so we're at the end of our session tonight, but before we go, I just want to make sure, does anybody need any of the downloads, the files that I put out? Everybody got these files? Does anybody need more time? I need you to pick up the 6 key indicator one and the Landlord Tenant Act info sheet that has all the links for the property. Okay? My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay, we're good for next Tuesday. So Tuesday, same time, we'll be meeting again. Yeah, about wholesaling. That problem. Yeah, what? Sure, no problem. What's your question? My pleasure. If it's a bad deal for you, who else would buy it? So if a property is it's not going to cash flow for you, say, even if it was cash flowing. If you wholesale it to someone else, why would they take it? Well, not everybody invests like we do, and not everybody looks at a real estate property like us. So, a property might be below market value, but still not a property we're interested in. Does that make sense? So if a property could be, so let me give you an example of this property. So let's say this property is really valued at $1 million, but we can get it for $825,000. Let's say, okay. So when you look at the numbers, right, and you run the numbers on this property, you come down, you're like, this property doesn't make cash flow. It's not good return. I'm not interested in holding this property, but you can most certainly wholesale it, right? Oh, you guys can't see that. Really, the visual is not as important, but I'll make it visual for you. Hold on, so it's easier to understand. So when you look at this property, let's say we run a property, the numbers on a property. And let's say that we know, let's say we know that the property is really worth $9,999. It's worth $1 million. But you've negotiated, the best you can do in your negotiations is to get it down to $825. Does everybody see that? So it's $825. We know it's worth $1 million. We got it down to $825. But when you run the income numbers on this, when you have the income and expense statement, you're like, this property doesn't make enough money to hold. You see that? But could we wholesale it? Well, sure we could, because on the retail market in this area, right? The files are in the way. Are they? Oh, shoot. I see. So nobody needs these files, yes? Everybody's good? Nobody needs these files anymore, right? No? We're good? Okay, good. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go there. Let's try this again. So again, the property, it's worth $1 million. Okay, it's worth $1 million, and you've negotiated the price down to $825. Okay, you've done that. Okay, so the retail value of this property is $1 million. You got it down to $825. Pretty good discount. Everything looks good. You start running the numbers on this, and you find out that it doesn't cash flow for you. Right? It doesn't produce enough income for you to want to hold this. But that doesn't mean the deal's no good at all. It just means it's no good to hold. So what you do is you wholesale this property. for $20,000. Now the end user that gets this property is still getting a deal. Does everybody see that? They're still getting a deal because it's valued at $1 million in the market, right? Because the way the market works, it's basically what the buyers and sellers agree to, right? The buyer is willing to sell his property for an amount that he thinks is worth more than his house, and the guy who's giving up the cash thinks it's worth, the cash is worth less than the house they're buying. So they come to an agreement of $1 million. You still can offer them a deal because the end user is still getting a discount off the retail. You see that? So if you own a variety store, if you own a convenience store, if you own a department store, every product you buy is going to be, you're going to be sold at a markup. So you're still happy, to buy it and sell it at a markup, and the buyer is still happy to get it from you because you're providing it for them, right? So it's good. It's a good thing to keep in mind. The prices are really dictated by the market, but real value, intrinsic value, that's something that we determine basically by income. Really no intrinsic value. We're looking at income only. We determine value by income. So it's okay for a property. You can still get rid of a property or your profit from a property, but you should let the numbers tell you what to do. And the numbers, if a property can cash flow, you can do anything with it. You can keep it, you can wholesale it, you can flip it. If a property can't cash flow, but has a deep enough discount, say 25, well maybe I can add repairs of 50,000, and the ARV will be 1.1 million, right? That's the ARV now, it's 1.1 million. So that's flipping it. I could flip this property or I could wholesale this property. Everybody see that? But if there's no repairs, there's no repairs, and there's no ARV because it doesn't need any repairs, can't force the appreciation, but it's sitting at, I got it under contract for 900,000, and it's really valued at $1 million. I can't keep it for income, clearly, right? I can't keep it for income. There's no way I can force the appreciation up higher, right, to flip it. I could flip it, but buying and selling it is not making a lot of sense, right? I may as well just wholesale it. I could wholesale it for 20 grand, and the end user would still be happy. So the numbers are going to tell you what to do with the property. It doesn't mean if the property has a cash flow, it's no good. It just means it's no good for cash flow. Does that make sense to everybody? Good. All right. Good. Does that answer your question? Yeah, it does. Okay, good. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap up the meeting. I just want to ask everybody, thank everybody for coming, obviously, and we'll all see you next week. If you're good, type in yes or Y. Awesome. This recording will be up in the next couple days. Make sure that you've subscribed to it so you can get it, and you don't have to ask. You can just wait to see pop up. It'll alert you. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you all next Tuesday.